What is going on, people, and welcome to VGXD Reviews. I'm your host, Charles Reed, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at the Retrobit Generations. Now, I picked this up for $14.99 at Disc Replay in Flint, Michigan. I seen it laying on a shelf, and I'm like, "Hey, is that $15?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." I was blown away because the cover right here, it says packed with over 100 popular retro games. That's right, over 100 games, you guys, and everything from Capcom's on here, Data East, IREM. I never heard of that company. It has 2 controllers. Check it out. And I'm just looking at the cover. I'm like, that is a deal. Because even originally, it was $20. Even for $20, I would have bought this. So I was kind of blown away. I think the retail price was, I want to say, $30 when it came out, which is still a bargain. $30 to $40 for over 100 games. That is a bargain. So on the back here, well, here's the box. Got some baseball artwork over here. There's the other side of the spine, or the side. You got built-in save feature. You got user interface, HD and CTR options, so that's good, HD. Customizable menu options. So you got a lot going on there. Okay, so it looks promising. And on the back here, we have all the games. At least most of them are a display, and it shows more at the bottom. And it says, packed with over popular retro games. Bring the power and entertainment of an arcade to your living room with Retrobit Generations plug-and-play console. Revisit and replay these classics on your own or with a friend and 2 wired Retro 6-button controllers. Designed with a sleek user interface and HDMI port. Retrobit Generations brings a new look for old school gamers and delivers fun for all ages. And that's what it says. And on the back here we have Super R-Type, 1943, 10-yard fight, Knights of the Rounds, Bionic Commando, Super Ghouls and Ghost, Major Title Golf, Rival Turf, Totally Rad, Super Alfred Chicken, Commando. You got a bunch of stuff on here, you guys. Even down here it says all the rest of the games. So there's a lot going on here, okay? Like I said, looks promising. Yeah, I mean, on the front we got hoops on there. That's one of my favorites on the Nintendo. Captain Commando. Yeah, I already said that. R-Type. So it's got some rare. I know R-Type. I think that's an expensive rare game. So it's got your shooters on there. You got sports games. It's like a mix of everything. I mean, okay. So let's check out what's in the box. Open this up. So I already opened it. So you have a 6-button style controller, red and black. I love the colors. I gotta say that. I love the colors with this thing because red and black are actually my favorite colors. I love it. It's kind of got that old Genesis vibe to it. Obviously, with the 6 buttons, you get the AV cables, which nobody uses nowadays. But it's cool because if you have old CRT tube television, you can go and play it on that. Or you can buy an HDMI cable, which most people are going to do. Doesn't include HDMI, I don't think, because I didn't get one, I don't think, with this. That kind of sucks. But HDMI cables are cheap nowadays. So let's check out the controller. I'll tell you this. Feels good. It's the buttons are a little stiff, but they're a little loose. And it honestly, it feels like the At Games controllers they give you with the At Games products. And I like the design. It's just like Sega Genesis, 6 buttons. So that's cool. They gave you 3 extra buttons. They could have been cheap and just said gave you the 3. But they gave you the 6. So very cool. Love the style. doesn't feel too cheap and it doesn't feel too expensive. It kind of feels in the middle. So I'm digging it. It's got a mode button right here. I think the mode button is for arcade games that are on the machine to insert coins. So that's cool. And I think if you hold start and mode, it goes back to the main menu. So you don't have to keep getting up resetting the console. Good. Cable length. This is good. Very long, very long. Nowadays they give you, I don't know why, but these plug-and-play systems, they give you very short cables, which makes no sense because nowadays everything is wireless. You would think even with wired, they'd make it long, but they don't, and it kind of frustrates me. But not with the Retrobit generations. They'll hook you up. So I love the controllers. You get two. So 2-player action right out of the box. Don't have to go out and buy another controller. Awesome. Let's check out the console. I love the design. Tiny, very small. It's not quite as small. Well, maybe. It's about the same almost as the Super Nintendo Mini or the NES Mini. And we have the front there, 2 USB slots for the controller, so it's USB compatible with the controllers. There's the top. Looks pretty cool to me. I mean, I have no problem with the design. And on the back, you got your HDMI, you have an SD card slot, and you have the power. So it does come with the SD card slot. Awesome, because you know there's modders out there. We're not going to promote modding on this channel. We don't. But I heard you can mod this. Well, you can get an SD card, plug it in, and put ROMs on it. And I heard Super Nintendo is very sped up. That's what I heard. I heard Genesis, forget about it. Emulation's terrible. I heard Game Boy works fine. Nintendo, maybe Game Gear. I can't remember. But that's about modding. Today we're not here to talk about that. But it is worthy to note, you got your SD cards, you know, for game saves and ROMs if you want to do that. On the back, you got the sticker. So yeah, it is definitely a cool design. You got your power button right there. No complaints. So let's go back to the box. Okay, so I mean, we pretty much went over everything. Now, what do I think about this? I played it. I plugged it in. Here's my problems. Okay. Controllers. Great. Let's talk about the positives. Controllers. Love it. System design. Love it. HDMI compatible. Love it. Even though they don't give you an HDMI cable. And it's, you know, AV as well. You can do that as well. Love it. Those are probably most of the positive, and the SD card slot. The negatives. I'm telling you, people say a bunch of stuff about AtGames. Oh, AtGames, they're garbage, blah, blah, blah. Their emulation is terrible. This thing, I'm telling you this right now, the emulation on this is probably worse than AtGames. I think it's slightly worse. At least by a notch, it is. Some of the games play fine. Other games, a little stuttery or audio issues. Certain games, it depends what you're playing. I don't know. It's a mixed bag with the emulation. I'm telling you this. And people have told me even that when you do the SD card modding or whatever, I hear, like I said, I heard Genesis is bad on it. It can't even handle Genesis. Super Nintendo sped up. The only thing I've heard it can handle decently is NES and Game Boy. So that's very bare bones emulation you're talking about on this thing. And the games it comes with, the emulation, I don't know, like sometimes like the loading, it was like, depends what game, but it's not perfect, this thing, it's not. Would I say there's more negatives about this than positives? I'd say there's probably more positives here. You mean the controller, the HDMI cable, the design. Those are the... I would say there's a little bit more positives going on here. For $20 or less, over 100 games, you can't really complain. I mean, I don't know. That's all I have to really say about this. Would I recommend it? if you're into old school retro gaming and you're looking to just plug in and play in something and you don't want to collect and you miss a lot of these old games, maybe. But the emulation, if you're a hardcore gamer and you know better, you're gonna notice some emulation issues going on here with certain games. So you might not be totally happy. Even for $20, it might bug you. You know, I think I was playing Super Ghosts and Ghost, and it was like, felt like a little bit sped up. And to some gamers, that might be an issue. This isn't how it used to be. This isn't the original. You know, you're gonna feel that way. Certain games. So I don't know. I want to like this thing. I'm thinking, oh, it's from Retrobit. I've heard good things about Retrobit, but not with this. This came out in 2017, I think, and this was around the time the NES Classic Edition came out. So if this thing would have came out in like 2012 or something, or 2010, it would have been acceptable emulation-wise, I guess. But this came out around the time like other little mini systems were out, even the Ad Games ones, and those have better emulation than this thing. And people give At Games, ATA Games crap about their emulation. No, their emulation's actually somewhat decent. If I had to rate At Games emulation, I would say they're about a 6 to a 7. This thing's more like a 5.5. 5.5, 6 emulation. They're like I don't know. I had better luck with AT Games products than this thing. And I hate to say that because I've heard really good things about Retrobit, but they dropped the ball on this. I don't know if this was their first little mini system, or if this is when they were putting out stuff and this is just kind of the first of its kind. I don't know, but it's like 2017. How you're telling me you can't handle Sega Genesis emulation? You can't handle Super Nintendo emulation? Half the games on here are kind of sped up or stuttery. Come on, that unacceptable. But I got it for $15, and I'm not gonna complain. I'm not. But if I was paying 30 to 40, I probably still wouldn't complain much. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the positives with this thing. If you want to pick it up, if you ever see it for cheap, maybe pick it up for a kid that doesn't know any better for a Christmas present. They'll probably love this thing. Don't pick this up for a hardcore retro gamer because they're going to notice I don't know. Everybody's different, so it's hard to say who I recommend this for, who I don't recommend this for. I guess if you wanted to, if you're talking about NES, you could have put the whole NES library on here from what I hear, and you can't do that on the NES Mini if you mod it. Well, maybe you can, but I think it's more I don't know, I think it's more advanced to mod that thing. This thing, you just need an SD card, pop it in, and maybe a file. But I know the NES Classic Edition is a little bit more advanced to mod, and it's more work to do that. So I don't know. In that case, I mean, if you want to make this an NES emulator, that's great. But just this out of the box with no HDMI cable and the emulation's kind of, I don't know. But overall, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna rate this, the whole system with the controllers, everything it comes with. I'm gonna say the $20 price, even though I paid $15 or $30 or something. Overall, I'm going to rate this 5 out of 10. Yeah, a 5 out of 10. I usually rate things a little bit higher than most people, but I'm going to rate this a 5. It's like it's average. Very, very average. Maybe a 5.5. So, I mean, at least emulation-wise. As far as the controller, everything it comes with, I'd maybe give it a 6 or a 7, but emulation is everything. Emulation is what's most important to me, because I want to have a good experience playing my gaming, with this thing. And even if it has good controllers, it has a cool design, emulation is what most people find most important in the end. This thing could have came with one controller, a short cable, and if it would have had better emulation, processors and all that, and hardware, I would have gave it a higher score. So, sadly, even though, like I said, I don't know. I'm going to rate it that. I'm going to give this thing a 5 out of 10. But for the price, SD card, you can turn this thing into a Nintendo, I hear. Still worth it, though. Pick it up if you find it cheap. This is the Retrobit Generations. Bam. I don't know where they sell this thing. I don't know if it's discontinued. You might find it at a pawn shop. You might find it at a local Goodwill. Who knows? But it's still cool. I still like it regardless, especially Major Type Golf. I never even heard of that game, Major Title Golf. And it's actually a good game, and there's some definitely cool rare games on here that you can't find anywhere else, unless you want to pay Army of a Leg on eBay, you know. Bam. Anyways, this was Video Game XD Reviews. I'm Charles Reed. I will see you guys next time on our next review. See ya.